I'm Lester Holt.
Howdy, Holdheads. Kurt Money here, alongside my co-host,
Kateline.
And we're here to talk about a brand new Dateline. And you know, we were roasting the Sunday apps. Like, how dare they think they've got enough juice to come out with a new one on a Sunday. But this one's a shorty. It was on a Sunday. It was a Blayne joint. And I'm dying to hear what you thought about it, Kateline. 'Cause I can't wait to talk about this episode just overall. Okay, anyway, I'm going to read the IMDb and then I'm going to get your thoughts. Cool. Jasmine Pace disappeared 2 days before Thanksgiving 2022, and the family tracks down every digital clue they can find to find her. Oh, find her. Come on, IMDb.
No.
Come on. Boy, well, that IMDb stunk. But Kate, tell me what you think of this episode.
I think this was Blayne's best one yet.
I thought Blayne was great. I thought she was really good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And it was an interesting case. They didn't stick her somewhere random.
Yeah.
It was solid.
Well, that's so funny that's your takeaway, because that is true. She's got some funny stuff and funny reactions to things where I was like, this is awesome. But I'm holding a giant ILH All-Star Award right here. Mm-hmm. And you know what it says at the bottom? The Pace family. Everybody in this fucking family is getting an ILH All-Star Award today.
Man, if you go missing, who do you want looking for you?
The Paces, okay?
Not the police.
Hell no. Oh boy, we're coming after some police today. I've never been so impressed with a distraught family before, and they did things that I hadn't thought of myself. Mm-hmm. And I don't know about you, Techspert, Kate, but I was like, wow, I didn't think to go to a Cash App to find out someone's name by plugging in their name, and then it would go oh, do you mean this person? And I'm like, oh, cool. So the Pace, it's 2 days before Thanksgiving 2022, and the Pace family's bumming because Granny is on her deathbed. And it really snuck up on them too, because it was like, Granny has cancer. Let's celebrate her life, to get your butt down here because she's going to die today thing.
It was fast. And she was a true matriarch where she really held the family together. So her passing was just brutal for everybody.
Yeah. And I liked hearing wait, is this in the South somewhere? Where'd this take place? Huh. Oh, yes.
I don't know why I want to say it was like Tennessee.
It is Tennessee. It's bingo, because the person we're going to talk about went to University of Chattanooga.
Right.
But they all call her Granny, and that's it. Not like your grandmother or anything. It was all Granny this, Granny that, and I loved it. But poor Granny, R.I.P., and Jasmine Pace, age 22, is talking to her cousin Jackie White. Now, Jackie sits with Blayne, and we talk to her a lot this episode. Mm-hmm. I thought she's a babe.
She is a babe. And you know what? I actually had a hard time keeping all of these women straight because they all looked alike. Jasmine, the cousin, Jasmine's mom.
Yeah.
There were times where I was like, what picture are we looking at?
Yes.
Who is that? Because the mom is talking and the mom looks like the victim. I was so confused.
Yeah.
Young mom.
She was not interviewed by Dateline, and once I grasped that, it made it easier for me.
Yeah.
Jackie White had like a Megan Fox vibe, hair and eyes wise.
Babe.
Yeah, total babe. They're talking, and it is right before Thanksgiving, and Jazzy is the one spearheading this idea. We have to spend Thanksgiving together. Our moms are not going to want to because they're devastated with pain and whatnot. But we got to get together or Granny will haunt us. And this, Blayne loved this. She couldn't help but crack up while she was still talking.
She was cracking up, and I think then she stopped herself a little bit because she was like, oh, maybe that's inappropriate. But she was like, haha, really?
Yeah. Blayne loved that joke so much. So that was on a Tuesday, and Jackie texts Jazzy the next day, and it's like, how you doing? And Jazzy's like, I don't know, or she says like, I just need some space to gather my thoughts or something. And Jackie was cool with that. But then what happens come Thursday, Kateline? Where's Jazzy? What's her story? Because she offered to bring food and make food as well.
Yes. But when it comes time for the wake, she says it's too hard, she can't be there. She doesn't, she's mourning. And at first they're understanding of this because everybody mourns in a different way, and she had a very close relationship with her grandmother. But something that I have learned when people are mourning is that you can't just do it for yourself. You have to remember that everybody is mourning too, and you may be a comfort to them. So you need to show up for others as well.
Right.
And I think her mom kind of knew that something was up. She wasn't sure, but when later she ends up missing, I think she retroactively thought, yeah, you know what? She wouldn't have done that.
Yeah. I mean, Jackie's sitting there talking about how she was upset and, like, tried to call her on Thanksgiving and she didn't answer. And she's like, girl, be there, or something. Mm-hmm. Still no word from Jackie. She supposedly went to South Carolina to hang out with her friend Emma's family, okay?
Which is, that's such a red flag when you know that your family is hurting and you all want to be together. This is the first holiday without grandma.
Yeah.
You're going to go with another family. I have to think her mom was like, something's not right.
Yeah.
Even if she didn't fully know how bad it was,
right.
In the back of her mind, she had to think something's going on.
Yeah. And we also talked to Jazzy's half-sister, Gabby, and she's like, I got a Snapchat from her that says, girl, I'm good. But that was weird as hell because it was an old photo. Mm-hmm. So, like, all the signs are really starting to roll in, right? Like, something's up. Okay, so it's Friday the next day, and the mom, Katrina, realizes that no one has talked to Jazzy in 3 days. And so she's, like, getting into worry mode. She calls Emma, the friend in South Carolina with the family, and says, like, hey, what's up? Is Jasmine there? What's doing? And what news does Emma have?
Emma's like, I haven't talked to Jazzy. She's not here. She never came down here for Thanksgiving.
Also, I don't have family in South Carolina. That was the big time when they were like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
So they're friggin' worried now. So, this is when it begins. Jackie's talking to Jazzy's mom, Katrina, and is like, well, she's on your phone plan, so we should be able to have access to her phone. Let's figure this out. And already I'm going,
let's see who she's been calling. Let's see what she's up to.
Yeah. And she's right. And so they all go down to the Verizon store, and they have to, like...
Do you remember what she said, though? In the interview, she was like, and I said to her, she's 22. She's on your phone plan.
Yeah.
And I was like, what does her age matter?
Yeah.
The phone plan.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, if she's 26, she's still on your insurance. But 22, you don't age out of phone plans. I'm on a phone plan with Jillionaire.
Oh, you are? Yeah, I mean, I guess that's what she was insinuating, like... She's young and still on your plan, but a lot of people do still party with a family plan.
We get unlimited data, and also my mom barely uses her phone, so I get even more than that. I get all the things.
Good, honey.
So they go to the Verizon store. They got printouts of her calls and everything, and they're like looking at the numbers to see like who recognizes this, what's up with this. And the mom notices one call for a number she doesn't recognize, 71 minutes. That's a long time.
And that was the night of the funeral, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like Tuesday night, Wednesday morning or something like that. But her phone was friggin' turned off on Wednesday.
Her phone was turned off, but she was still kind of active.
And they have to... How'd they get her email password? What'd they do? Like, they had to transfer her account info to a new phone so that they could access her info.
They can do more than
right?
the FBI.
Oh, yes, and they do. And they absolutely...
That's how you get around... Apple's security, how Apple won't unlock phones for even the feds.
Right.
Just be on their family plan, and if you have control over that phone as like the master account,
yeah,
you can pull up anything you need. Like I have control over all the phones on our family plan. So if Jillionaire is acting up, I can get all her info easily.
So they notice that every single password that she had been changed, and we kind of see it right like in the code, like the dirty data on the phone, right? What were you thinking here?
I didn't realize that they could get that so easily just from Verizon.
Yeah.
I didn't know that password changes were logged by the carrier.
Yeah, that's a great point too.
Because isn't it individual passwords on individual apps? How would the carrier track that?
I don't know. I genuinely, maybe...
I'm not doubting it.
No.
I just didn't know.
Yeah, this is just us being impressed with the Pace crew. Because we're like going, wait, how they do that? Like...
Huh? What?
This is step one of that. And they're like, oh, I know. Oh, this is great too. Jackie was like, well, she's got a car, and cars since 2015 have had GPS in them. And I'm going, oh, okay, keep talking. Interesting. It sounds right to me.
Uh-huh.
And what do you know? They freaking get access to her car's GPS by logging into like her car's app on her phone.
Even though they don't have the car, and they don't know where her car is at this point.
They don't have the car, they don't have her phone. And now they've got GPS to find out where her car is.
And they find it.
This is crazy.
This is crazy. I mean, this is really impressive. I don't think cops know how to do this.
They don't. And
we've never heard cops doing this before. Like when they ask for phones to look forensically, they're not looking at the right stuff, clearly.
No, and you know that they're just taking it, putting it in a bag, and waiting to hand off to their techspert. That's going to be there next week or whatever.
And the techspert's going to be like, well, I don't think there was an affair.
Yeah.
And that's about it. And it's like,
yeah.
In the meantime, this girl is maybe dead.
Yeah.
And she may have been alive, but y'all weren't doing enough like the Pace family did.
Yes.
To try to find her. When we were watching this episode, I was thinking, it's very frustrating because you're not even allowed to put out a missing persons until 24 hours after they're missing.
48. Yeah.
Or 48. And this family is doing all the right steps in the very early hours. And then I remembered one of my mom's favorite TV shows that I do not watch is Tracker.
Tracker. What is Tracker?
On CBS. And here's the thing. This guy Tracker, he gets hired to track people as soon as they're missing. So he's able to find people alive because he does this kind of stuff because the cops aren't going to do it. They don't wait. Like, if someone's missing, the parents or the boyfriend, they call him, and he's on it within, like, an hour.
Awesome. That's pretty cool.
So then the tension of the episode is, like, is he going to get to them in time before they get murdered or whatever?
And are the cops trying to interfere with his shit? Because they're like, hey, that's our job, but not yet. It'll be our job tomorrow.
Well, maybe, but...
Is that what's going on?
The episode that I watched with my mom, there were no cops involved at any point. He did it all himself in, like, a day.
Wow. Okay, interesting. I got to look into this tracker.
So I'm thinking Katrina Pace should be a tracker.
Yes.
Is the point I'm trying to make.
You're going to survive. Your heart rate's beating double time, Jessica. Your name is Jessica, right?
Jessie.
Jessie. Oh, that's a good name. I'm Coulter, by the way. Hi.
I agree, because they find out where her car is and go to that address. And it's in some apartment complex. And there's her freaking car. Mm-hmm. And so now they finally decide to involve the police. Now... You'd think that would be the good idea, but this episode, maybe more than any other, is just really shows the failures of the cop or the police system. Mm-hmm. And it's because of all the stuff you're saying, where it's like, if there was any urgency or laws or whatever, you could get the ball rolling way sooner. Because even in this moment, she's been missing 4 days. This is Friday, okay? They haven't seen her since Tuesday. They have her car missing. We hear Katrina telling all of this to the cop on the body with the body cam on. Mm-hmm. And she's saying all these things. And what's the cop's vibe the whole time?
Well, I don't know if there's a lot we can do. And at one point she's like, well, why? Why can't you do it? And you're like, well, I'm not saying we can't. I'm just saying tonight we can't. It's like, oh, you need to go nights? You need to go Betty bye? And you go good night sleep, and then you start in the morning when she's already dead?
Yeah.
And the mom is like, why can't you start right now? Why do you have to wait till the morning?
Yeah, the mom goes, because the cop even says, I know the guy, I know operations manager at this apartment complex, so I could ask him, but like, there's no way I'm going to be able to get a hold of him until tomorrow. And I'm going, is it 3 a.m.? No, guess what time it was, Kate? I looked at
I am willing to bet it was like 7:30 p.m.
7:30.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Call him. Also, apartment managers are their whole gig is to be available. That's literally the job.
Yeah.
That's the job.
They can have a discounted rate on rent if they are available all the time in case of a gas leak, pipe burst, break-in, whatever.
That's true.
Call him.
Yeah. And the cop's like, there's no way we're going to be able to get a hold of anybody. And you can tell, I feel like there's a shot where a cop's holding the business card. Maybe someone gave that to him. I feel like he has his card ready for them to shut up, and he can go, well, here's my card, and somebody will reach you in the morning. And the Paces are like, no. Like, we have all this stuff. Go get the security cam footage. Let's see who drove this car here. Mm-hmm. Also a great idea.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, we can't do that. And then she's like, well, what about businesses around here? And they're like, there's no way we're going to be able to get a hold of them. And, I mean, this is beyond frustration. Again, I if it was 3 a.m., I would maybe possibly get the point. I'd still be pissed. But 7:30 p.m. is bullshit,
totally.
Dude. I don't care if it's a holiday weekend or anything.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the idea that they don't think they'll be able to contact every business, is because they don't want to. And when they are typically investigating, this kind of thing probably takes them weeks because they'll do like one business per day.
Yeah.
And then they'll finally get all the surveillance they can after like a month.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, the victim is long dead.
Yeah. I could not believe this attitude. I mean, just confirmed our worst suspicions, but this was truly a 9-to-5 job.
Oh, yeah.
For the people that we dealt with in this episode. It was truly like, hey, it's after hours right now, okay? So, like, you can write down stuff, but, like, this ain't my problem till tomorrow.
And you could see the look on the Pace family's faces. They're like,
yeah.
Is this a joke?
Yeah.
Like, we just gave you everything.
Yeah.
We just legally can't do things. You can, but here's it all. Do it all.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
this whole time, so Katrina's there at the car, and she's calling up Jackie, and Jackie's like, well, who is this number? So Jackie plugs it into a mobile cash app, and then that tells her what the name is. This was pure genius.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't think of this.
I would not have thought to do that either. You can do that on Venmo too.
Yeah.
Cash and Venmo.
Exactly.
You just type in the number and
it'll tell you.
And if it's a young person, they're going to be on there.
Yeah. Exactly. And what do you know? Jason Chen is the name that shows up. And so Jackie is on the horn with Katrina and says, I got it, Jason Chen. Katrina says, thank you. Click. Hangs up because she freaking knows who this guy is.
Yeah.
She's calling Jason Chen while on the body cam with the cops. Mm-hmm. Right? And he answers and is like, oh, I haven't seen her since Monday. And now Katrina knows that this motherfucker had a 71-minute conversation with her Tuesday night.
And
so he is lying.
She mutes him and turns to the cops and like, okay, he just said this, and I know he's lying because they had a conversation. So I'm going to tell him this now. Okay, unmute. I know you're lying.
Yeah.
Like, baller.
So baller. And she even played it to not spook him. She goes, hey, Jason, I just looked at her call log, and it says that you talked to her on Tuesday, actually. Also, super smart in the moment for Katrina, because I'd have been like, you lying piece of shit, where is she?
Yeah.
This was unbelievable, I thought. I could not believe how awesome they were at this. So the cop there eventually bounces and is like, well, we'll pass it along. Whoever needs the info, we'll pass it along. And the Paces are going, all right, well, we're going to continue. And so they look up an address for Jason Chen. Turns out to be an abandoned house. And so now they're frustrated. What can we do? And they're like, okay, everybody go back for your communications with Jasmine. And what does Katrina find on her phone from Jasmine that she had sent?
She finds that Jazz had dropped a pin to her mom with her actual like real-time location. And it wasn't actually that, it was like earlier that day or something. It was like,
no, it was at 2:14 a.m. Okay. It was literally, well, we'll find out when specifically, but it was in the middle of the night, and Katrina was mourning the loss of her mom and stuff. So like she didn't see it and whatnot, but it was literally just a single pin sent to her at 2:14 a.m. with nothing else.
And they're going, boom.
Let's go to this.
This was Jazz saying, I'm here. Someone come help me.
Exactly. Even the victim is on board. Like,
yes.
Everybody in the Pace family knows exactly what to do in those scenarios. Oh, it's so cool.
Jillionaire would never.
No.
I'd be dead.
Yeah. She wouldn't. Do you think she'd tell the cops that you had sent a pin?
No.
Or would she not even know that?
She'd be like, what's this?
Yeah.
She wouldn't even remember that I sent her something at all. She wouldn't even understand how to look that up.
Yeah. I mean, look, real talk. It may be because I don't know how to send a pin of my location. Do you? I do not. I've never done it.
I do, but
I know it's possible.
It's in Maps. It's not in Google, and I use Google. So I don't be dropping pins because Maps sucks.
Same. Thank you. Okay, so I'm not like a fuddy-duddy, because I'm also a Google Maps guy, so I don't.
I also have friends who, when they're coming to my house, they share their route with me. So I can watch them on their journey on their way to my house, and it shows like real-time ETA. It's Maps. I'm like, I don't want this.
Yeah.
Get this out of here.
So Katrina finds this pin drop, and they're going, all right, well, this has to be where this is her telling us her location. And so they go to it, and sure enough, it's another apartment complex, but it's a new one that they haven't been to. And what do? They go inside, start knocking on doors. Nobody's answering. And then they're like, oh my God, this pin is specific. It has like the longitude and latitude of her location. So then that's when they're holding the phone like against the wall and walking towards units to wait and see where exactly it matched.
Right. They're not sure which floor though, because it's just going to give longitude and latitude, not elevation. So wherever they find it, they found it immediately. Apartment 210.
Yeah.
But it wasn't apartment 110. it was 210.
Good call. So they knock on the door. No answer at 210. The Pin at apartment 210. Good title. We got to give him a little credit here for the title, right? Mm-hmm. Wasn't a spoiler because I didn't put it together until now.
Nope. And didn't say death or murder.
You're right. Not deadly.
Deadly.
It could have been Deadly Pin or something. Ugh. They would have loved it.
No, it was great.
They do get one neighbor to answer a door, and that's at apartment 212. And they go, we don't know who lives there, because nobody's answering at 210, right? They keep knocking and knocking. And the neighbor at 212 says, I don't know who it is, or I don't know of anything going on, but last night, I heard a scream so severe, I wrote down the time. Mm-hmm. What do you think about this, Kate? If it required him to write down a time of night, maybe he should have, like, looked out, done more than write.
Like, call the police, maybe?
Or at least...
Because I hear noises all the time in my neighborhood. And some are screams, some are, like, yelling, mm-hmm. Parties are going on, whatever. I've never heard one that shook me so hard that I thought, I need to write down the time and the direction that it came from. Yeah. Because if I did, I would call the police.
That's what I like. I appreciate this dude doing this because he thought he heard it from apartment 210. Okay, and that time that he wrote down was within 3 minutes of that pin drop.
Yeah. So
it straight up looks like Jasmine was being murdered and like used her last breath to drop a pin to her mom of where she was. Dope shit. Awesome. Awesome. But yeah, if I was going to write down the time, because I'm with you, I've heard screams and stuff and been like, what was that? But it's never been enough to act on it like that. Mm-hmm. I would have looked out the peephole for someone, because you know that 30 minutes later he was walking out that door with a body.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, I don't know. I feel like they could have done one more step. But look, not everybody's a member of the Pace family, Kate.
No.
They're not all super dope and know what to do right away.
And maybe he fell asleep right after it.
True. So they have this info. Okay, Jazzy was heard screaming in this apartment at 2:10 in the morning or whatever. What does Katrina do now? This is sick.
She says this, goes back to her car, gets a credit card, comes back, pops open that door.
She successfully picks the lock with the credit card. That is so badass, right? Mm-hmm. Oh my God, I love this.
And she goes in, they look around, they definitely identify it as his apartment because they find his identification and things that prove he lives there.
They found a notebook with his name on it, but they found Jazzy's ID and credit cards in a stack on the table. Right? So they're freaking the out now. Like, what? But so now they have their proof that this was the last place she probably was. And they see Jason Chen on the inside of the notebook. And this is when they call the cops again. And I hated these cops. You want to talk about these cops? We see them in action.
These cops, they're back out in the hallway.
Yeah.
They don't want to enter that apartment because...
Well, they can't. Right?
Because the Pace family entered illegally.
Yeah.
So anything that they found can't actually be used as evidence. And it may have, they say, it may have made the case impossible to solve now, and that they took it a step too far. And the Pace family is like, no, because
I don't care.
Jazzy's not in there, and neither is the boyfriend. So wherever they are is somewhere else. We need to go and find them.
Yeah.
And we didn't find a murder weapon or anything like that. So what do you mean? That now the whole case is thrown out because we tried to take everything into our own hands because you wouldn't do anything?
Yeah, I'm with you there. Now, as we hear from a defense attorney later, like, it is true that you can call into question any evidence they find in there because they entered illegally. And I get why the cops couldn't go in there, absolutely. Like, we know that. We've seen that before. But that's something to deal with down the road.
Right.
Like we're saying, in the moment, though, cops, because the cops say, well, I've notified the investigator that was assigned to your case, and she'll get this information, but we're warning you, you cannot do this again. They didn't know about a new investigator. They didn't know it had been assigned. Mm-mm. And so this is when I want to go, I need answers. Who did not want to get their ass out of bed and deal with this? Because if there was already a detective assigned to the case, and they found this stuff, you got to get up and start your job a little early.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I like the fact that it had been assigned to someone and the attitude was still, okay, easy there. Let me get my coffee and then we'll start.
Yeah, you guys need to take it easy and let us handle it from here. And also, they didn't. As soon as the cops left, they went back in again.
Awesome.
And I was like, hell yeah.
Awesome. Oh, that's so cool. And they straight up like put stuff in a box, right? They any electronics. Uh-huh. They're like, okay, let's go give this to the cops. Oh, wait. Dingus Award goes to the guy for telling this grieving family, who's doing their job, by the way. The cop goes, "Can I speak?" And did like a little zip it motion.
Like the Dr. Evil, like...
Yes. Yeah. You must zip it.
Number 2, would you please back me up?
Look, I'm Zippy Longstocking.
This little guy, I wanted to like...
He was little.
Yeah, he's a little holding on his little bulletproof vest and going like, "Hey, that's not my rule, guys. That's the state of Tennessee. That's this or that. Can I speak?"
No.
No, you can't. Okay?
No, you can't.
Yeah. Okay.
They interviewed the lady detective, right?
No, we don't. We talked to a... Okay, wait. This is what's cool. A female detective was hired or put on this case because we hear her and she and stuff. We don't see hide nor hair of her. We don't get a name or anything because they go over her.
Yeah.
Right? The next day, the Pace's family lawyer contacts like the state general or something, attorney general, and that's when the attorney general gets a special detective and says, "You're going to be helping out the Chattanooga police department on this." Oh, this was sick.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so awesome.
Who was it that kept saying, we were scared to open up that door because we didn't know what we were going to find. We didn't know what we were going to find. And she said find like 5 times. I wrote it down. Find.
Oh, you did? Who was it? Maybe it was the prosecutor?
It might have been the prosecutor.
Now is when we get the background on Jason Chen. He went to school nearby. His parents lived 30 minutes away. And we talked to a roommate that lived with him. Jason, or not Jason, but a roommate.
This roommate, first of all, I did like him, but he talked about how when he first learned that Jason might have had something to do with Jazz's disappearance / murder, he thought, no, Jason could never do something like that. And then he tells us about what happened when they were living together. And I'm like, he absolutely could do something like this. What do you mean, bro? And he ruined your life. And you're like, he would never. He ruined that guy's life.
He did. And he straight up made him lose his job. And I had so many more follow-up questions because what he did was he hacked into his roommate's information, changed all the passwords, sounds familiar, and sent emails to a place where they worked together, sent emails to the boss that were mean or something, that got this dude fired. So the roommate is like, well, I'm going to move out. Goes home, the locks had been changed, and Jason won't open the door.
He couldn't get the rest of his stuff, and he just left it.
Yeah.
He's out of a job and out of all of his accounts.
Yeah.
Locked out of everything, and now his apartment, and he's thinking he would never. Yes, he would.
Idiot. He absolutely would.
Dude is psycho, and it came out of nowhere that he did this to him because they were friends, and he said they would hang out, they would get food, they were cool, and then all of a sudden he gets him fired, starts posting insane shit under his name.
Yeah,
and then we start thinking about those weird posts that Jasmine made the week of her disappearance. When she said, girl, I'm good. She'd also posted pictures of herself in lingerie.
This was at the moment that the Pace family's in the parking lot with the cops. They see a post from Jazzy, supposedly, from Facebook. A picture so racy that even Dateline blurred it.
Yeah.
She's in straight up lingerie, spending Thanksgiving with my baby.
And she would never. Her cousin, everyone, they're like, that is not her. She's super private. She would never do that. Clearly she got hacked.
Yeah.
And who do we know now who likes to hack and post things as other people?
Yeah. Absolutely. So Jason Chen is absolutely looking good for it based on background and current stuff because they had met on a dating app and they dated off and on. But so the cops, or this cool Detective Zach Crawford, when I want to know how pissed and embarrassed the Chattanooga Police Department was when this guy showed up in a suit and tie going well, now we're going to do our jobs for real today. And they're like, dang it.
Oh, yeah.
So they get a proper search warrant and he goes in there and he's like, the first thing I noticed, smells like bleach. Cleaning products.
Yep.
Right? And then I wrote this down. I did a proper little side quest for this because he goes in there and
he does a luminol test, doesn't he?
Not luminol, but that's exactly what I'm talking about. Is he goes in there and they spray Blue Star, a Blue Star chemical agent, and it lit up. I was waiting for it. Lit up like a Christmas tree. I didn't hear it. I was waiting for it though. But they see blood everywhere, and I'm going, Blue Star, what the hell is that? Does he mean luminol? So I looked it up online, And there was a Reddit of like luminol versus blue star. Turns out blue star is a little better because it luminesces more and longer. Now, if you remember when I learned that luminol lasts 45 seconds and that's it.
Yeah.
Right?
And luminol also is very sensitive to other things. Doesn't it sometimes not pick up something as blood? It'll pick up like some other kind of...
Mayo.
Right.
Sometimes mayo can be confused. So it's kind of like, whoa, luminol. Yeah. You slipping, dude. It's a good thing we got blue star in there.
Yeah, it sounds like blue star is our new preferred tool.
Yeah. Yeah. And
luminol, take a hike.
Get out of here. Oh, I will say in my investigating, neither of them affect DNA that get sprayed. That's pretty cool too. I guess I just assume that, but that's cool that they can get spray stuff and it's like doesn't hurt the DNA on there. That's pretty neat.
That's good.
But they see hella blood, and this is where it's not a missing persons, it's a homicide. This is scary too, when they see so much blood that they go, no one can survive losing that much. Right? That's what...
We are not looking for a missing person anymore. This is now a homicide.
That's a bummer.
It's a bummer.
Yeah. So Crawford tells the Pace family this, and they're bummed, and they're like kind of trying to keep hope that like maybe she's still alive, but it kind of sounds like she's definitely not. And now Crawford's job is to find Jason Chen, and they look at his digital footprint, and he had bought cleaning supplies at a Walgreens and a Walmart, wearing a very, very visible red and white trucker hat. Mm-hmm. It said anything goes. I couldn't find what that meant or what it was referring to. Do you know?
No, but didn't Blayne kind of say it was like a local business or something, like a play on words?
No, they didn't talk about it. Although I'll go back, maybe. But he's definitely wearing this hat that they could see it's him in the security footage. I mean, Jason Chen's not hard to find. Where is he?
He's at his parents' house, and he's wearing that hat. They go and get him, and he's wearing the hat.
Yeah, he's wearing the same...
Idiot.
He's wearing what he committed the crime in and stuff. And the cop is trying to be chill. This was Blayne's second moment. I bet you're going to agree with me here. This is where Blayne goes, wait. When he was wearing the hat that he did the stuff in, you guys were pretty pumped, right? And the cop was like, yeah, it means we don't have to look for it.
There it is.
There it is. Oh, I loved that. That was another Blayne All-Star moment. I was cracking up. They arrest Jason for first-degree murder, but he smartly lawyers up, so they can't talk to him. And now, that's when the roommate is like, oh yeah, he did that same thing to me once, so maybe, yeah, I guess I could see it. That was when we heard that story where it's like, what?
Bro, come on. But I did like him. I just thought, you're too trusting of people.
And so... on December 1st, so now this is the next week, and here's a great example of what we're talking about where cops aren't going to get on it for a few days, is they like do triangulations of Jason's cell phone, which takes them 4 days. It would have taken the Pace family 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. Because they're like, oh, look, because now the Pace family's like, well, now we got to look for her body, unfortunately. And luckily they don't find it, but the cops see that Jason Chen had been to like the Tennessee River, like the banks of the Tennessee River. Mm-hmm. And so they go there, and it had been there that morning, the night that, or like whenever it is that Jazzy disappeared, and they find a freaking suitcase. And what's in that suitcase?
Jazzy.
In a freaking suitcase wrapped up in plastic bags, wearing handcuffs. BT dubs. Awful.
Terrible.
Awful. And do you remember what the irony was of that location? That Jazzy had told Jason, hey, before the leaves change, you should go to this river spot because it's like beautiful.
It's really beautiful. She wanted him to see it because it was so pretty.
And that's where he took her body. I bet he was like, she would have loved this. Yeah, wrapped up in a suitcase with handcuffs on in a plastic bag. You're right, dude.
They arrest this kid.
Oh yeah.
And I'm still completely, what was the motive here?
Yeah, we don't...
Why would he do this to her?
There really was, until we hear what happens at the trial, like at this point, nobody knows, because they were kind of seeing each other.
And they weren't fighting, really. Like,
Yeah.
She hadn't complained about him to the family.
No.
And it was all good.
So the trial's getting geared up, and we meet the prosecutor here. I have her name written down. Cody Womp. Hell yeah.
Womp.
Womp it up. That's amazing. We talked to her and also the dumb defense attorney's on here. And what's the first thing he wants to talk to Blayne about, Kate? Is about how offensive it is about this illegal search.
And no one cares. And the jury didn't care either. No one cared. It was like, yeah, it was an illegal search. So what, man? Your client did it.
Yeah. Yeah, and here's what's interesting. When you say that nobody cared, the judge didn't, because guess what was allowed to be admitted? That evidence.
The judge didn't care. I loved it.
Yeah, that I loved. I'm concerned that when he appeals, I could see some dum-dum saying they shouldn't have been able to use that evidence. I could see this being one of those cases, but at least for right now, it didn't work. It got admitted.
But I think there's still enough against him that even if he went to court again, without what they obtained in that illegal search, there would be enough to prove that it was him.
So the trial starts, and the whole time, Jason pled not guilty and stuff, but the trial starts, and all of a sudden his story changes. What does he say happened? Now we finally get our answer, supposedly.
Kurt, I gotta be honest with you.
What?
I have no idea, because I didn't believe a word he said, and I don't remember it. I just thought, shut this guy up already.
Yeah, the defense attorney straight up says that his client killed Jasmine Pace. But it
wasn't premeditated.
Exactly. It was a good old-fashioned self-defense case. And they lay out what he says happened, where they were drinking. She went to the kitchen to get a new bottle of wine, and we heard that familiar ding, a Tinder ding, and some girl had messaged his phone. Now this supposedly inspired Jazzy to take the empty wine bottle and attack him with it, which was so scary to him, who this guy, 2 times the size of her, gets a butcher knife, okay, and stabs her 60 times in self-defense. What do you think, Kate? Does that sound like self-defense?
No.
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 So I hate when they try and do this stuff, because, she's a super tiny girl.
Yeah.
And if I was going to believe this story, which I never would, maybe 2 stabs, okay? Not 60.
No.
Not 60 stab wounds. And then handcuffing. And, what were the handcuffs for then? Hey, wait a minute. What? You're not going to put handcuffs on a dead body. So it sounds like she was already subdued at one point.
It sounds like he was torturing her.
Yeah. So, luckily, nobody buys it, and he gets life. And they sentencing, they're like, you can either get out in 51 years or never. Which one do you want to do? And they went with the right answer. Never.
And he should not be anywhere near a computer.
Yeah. Yeah, and I liked that Blayne was like, the defense attorney tried to thread a needle with talking to Katrina, and they play it, and the defense attorney sucks. He's like, okay, so you went into the apartment without permission, right? And she goes, wouldn't you do that for your daughter? Mm-hmm. And the defense attorney's like, yes. And then he goes, but you weren't allowed to do that. And she's like, wouldn't you do that for your daughter?
Uh-huh.
This idiot.
She's like, yeah, I did it. I'd do it again.
Yeah.
What of
it?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Stabbed her. And we talked to one jury member, and she's like, it was 60 stab wounds, but 120 choices in and out. I was like, that's a good visual. Prosecutor, good job.
Oh, yeah.
So we're at the end. What did you think of this? I might have tried to talk her out of, maybe. But Jackie, during sentencing, they're doing victim statements, and she brings an empty glass and starts putting stones in there. And she supposedly put 60 stones in there for the amount of stab wounds, but there was a cut in the middle, and it didn't look like 60 stones. What do you think? So I think that she started doing it. She felt the vibe and was like,
and the judge was like, okay, we get it. It reminded me of some really boring wedding ceremonies that I've been to, where people do stuff like that, where it's like, we're putting in the stones for him, we're putting in the stones for her, or I've seen it done with colored sand being poured in.
Yeah.
This is our sand representing our love.
Yeah.
And I'm snoozing.
You're out.
I'm
You're
just like can we get our snacks? What time is it?
Yeah. Release the desserts.
Yeah.
The speeches sucked, and now we got to do this sand ceremony. I can't say enough about this Pace family. I loved them. They did everything right and then some.
Yep. No complaints.
And this is absolutely what you should do in these scenarios. Because we see in this case, the cops can't do shit. It's not that. The cops don't want to do shit until they have to. And that's the problem.
This would have probably still unsolved if they hadn't been on it.
I really hope it doesn't get appealed or whatever, but I love when she got the credit card and broke in. My God, was that awesome. Mm-hmm. This poor fam, it's really sad, but they're freaking all-stars, and I think it's time for those lists. What do you got, Kate?
Kate's unnamed list. I don't know that I have anything.
Yeah, me neither. Kurt's kick-ass list. Also, Kurt's kick-ass list.
Kick-ass list.
0.
But you know what?
Nothing.
It was a shorty, and it was solid. We like it. Mm-hmm. That ain't nothing.
Yeah. I mean, the case itself is what it is. I truly wanted to do this because of how friggin' awesome the Pace family was. Like, we had never seen this level of family input doing all the right stuff. So good that it calls into question the current way the police operate. Yes, Kate.
We did see some badass relative.
What?
Now, what?
Why'd that happen?
Why is it still happening is the question. I just did this.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's doing it again.
It's because I keep throwing up the peace sign.
You must have reactions turned on somehow.
I don't
That's
mean
really
to.
funny. Do the peace sign again. See if it does it. Oh my God!
So stupid.
That's funny. Okay. Stupid AI.
With our favorite.
Yeah.
When they called and pretended to be questioning about the insurance after the storms to get his girlfriend to say who she is.
Yeah, that was good. But you're right. They've now been dethroned, I think.
Yes.
I mean, look, they're still just as freaking awesome, but this one takes the cake. This is far and away the most badass we've seen an all-star act, I think.
Totally.
So awesome. So anyway, it's cool that Jason Chen's going to rot in jail forever. And on that note, I'm Kurt Money.
I'm Kateline.
I'm Lester Holt. For all of us, I'm Lester Holt. Good night.